Hello everyone, welcome back to Crafts by the Bow. Today I'm using the Quite Curvy set. This is a set that came out just before Christmas, and if you were a demonstrator or an early customer you could buy this, and it has dies and photopolymer stamps, and you could also get a seasonal set as well for Christmas cards which had some designer series paper, but that part of it didn't carry over. This is in the January to June catalogue, and I've only used it a couple of times, but the more I use it, the more I understand how the dies work and the better I like it. I love that it's photopolymer because it's so easy to line things up and to see through your stamp blocks and see where you're stamping. And then these are the dies that go with it. And you can see that some of the dies are going to leave a pattern in your paper and cut a line. Some don't cut lines, they just leave a pattern. And the one that we're using today has disappeared. Let me just see where it went to. Oh, there it is. It's a row of little dots. It has a cutting line on one side and then a row of little dots. So let me show you the card that I've made for you. I've made this just a simple fold. It's just, a piece of card folded straight in half with a little piece of designer series paper on, and then the flowers and one of the little birds from the set and this little sentiment. Now these sentiments are sort of curved, so they will fit along the curves here, so you can stamp on here, stamp on the underneath of your card, and it will follow the lines of the curves. But I haven't used it like that today. I've just used the plain sentiment and a different set of dies to cut those out with. So let me show you what we need to do and what you're going to need to have to make the card. Check on my blog because all the sizings will be there. Now, I just needed to pick up the other dies, excuse me. Okay, so you need to start off with a piece of cardstock and designer series paper. And the paper that I've chosen is this Hydrangea paper. And it's called Hydrangea Hill, and it's from the Hydrangea Hill suite. And the colours are Gorgeous Grape, Highland Heather, Misty Moonlight, Mossy Meadow, Old Olive, Rococo Rose, Seaside Spray and Whisper White. And on my first card, I used the Rococo Rose colours, and on this one, I'm going to use Highland Heather, and I'm also going to use the Purple Posy. And although that's a card that's retiring soon, I just liked the subtlety of the paler purple. And this has some really, really pretty papers in it. You can see I've played with lots of little bits of them. I love this for masculine cards. And you wouldn't think of that coming in a flowery set of designer series paper, but it's really, really pretty. And these stripes are another one that I've used a lot already. So versatile for birthdays, anniversaries, lots of things. Whoops, that piece just shot right out of the bag, sorry. Okay. So what you need is a piece of Purple Posy. It's just half a piece of card. I've scored it down the middle. And then I've cut a slightly smaller piece of the designer series paper. And I wasn't sure whether I was going to have this side or whether I was going to have that side. But in the end, what I'm thinking is I'll have this way, just so I get a little bit of flower. Let's see. I don't know, I like both sides. This is a little bit more classic looking at this side. Let's go with the classic side. Okay, so I used the really patterned side on this one. So let's go with a more classic look. Okay, so I showed you that you needed that one die, that long die. And with your designer series paper, once your card is folded, this is going to be on the front, and you need to get that curved line. And I've tried it a few different ways. I've tried putting the paper in and then putting the cardstock in and trying to cut it. But I found that the best way for me to line it up is this is the whole of my card, this half will be the front, and it's to line that designer series paper up at the bottom, like this. And then to put on the die, and with a little piece of washi tape, what I do is I just line that up. I have it just a fraction above the bottom of the paper and the card, and I just put a little piece of the washi tape on. And then I put it on my plate, on the clear plate, to go through the cut and emboss machine, and I stick it so that this piece goes over the die and onto the plate, and that way I can run it through the machine and it doesn't move, and I get just a perfect curve that I need. So I have already done that. I've done some pieces of cutting out already, as you probably saw. So here's the piece as it will come back through the machine. So after, let's take this piece back again. After you've run it through, this little edge will fall off, and it will fall off from both the cardstock and the designer series paper. And this is what you'll get left with. And then when you move this up to make the front of the card, that is just the exact curve that the bottom piece is. And honestly, that is the quickest way I've found to do it. Now, I'm going to fold my piece of card in half. Okay, and I'm actually going to attach this piece of designer series paper while I'm here and while we've got it in front of us. Oh, and now my glue doesn't want to work. Okay, glue, you had your chance. Let's see, let's find some Stampin' Seal. Okay. Oh, it's going to be one of those days. Even the Stampin' Seal doesn't want to work. No, okay, we're working. Okay, so I'm just going to attach this right at the top. Let's make sure we've got it straight, because at the moment it isn't. Let's pull that back a little bit. There we go. And let's get just a bone folder. There we go. Now it's nice and straight. Okay, so here's the front of our card. Now the next thing you need to do is some stamping. And I had just a piece of basic white, and what you need to have is 2 pieces of the flowers, and I'm only stamping in Memento Black here because I want to colour in with my blends. Okay, so you need 2 of those. Leave a little gap between them just so that you can get the dies through. Okay. You need 1 of the little birds, and I chose this little bird. So I need just 1 of the little birds. Okay, and then last of all, you need your sentiment. And then you're going to need these to dry for just a little minute. Okay, so I'll show you what we're doing next. Let's put that ink away. Oh, just before I put the ink away, let me show you another piece that you needed. You need a piece of plain white for inside. That's just 1/4 inch smaller. And all I did was I've stamped the flower pattern that we're using on the front. I've just stamped it twice going across the card. Don't make it too low down, else you'll be able to see it underneath here. Okay. And then as you can see, I've started to colour in. And for this one, I'm using my light Highland Heather and my light Old Olive. And you need to colour the 2 pieces that you've got here ready to die cut and the 2 pieces that go on the inside of your card. And I've already coloured some of them just to save a little bit of time. And this is a really fast little thing to colour. I'm not doing lots of shading, and I'm only literally doing 2 colours. If you want to put different colours in, you know, that works as well. Just choose something that either goes with your designer series paper or you think makes a nice complement to your paper. I'm I'm just doing all the leaves in this light old olive really quickly. You could also use different marker pens if you have them. You could use watercolour pencils as well. Whatever you normally colour with. Okay, so that's the green finished. And then with the light Highland Heather, I'm just going to go over the flowers. You could make these flowers like different colours. You could do pinks and purples and blues, and then that would match the hydrangea paper a little bit more as well. Just colour these last little bits. And don't ever be afraid of going over the edges either, because if you're using the blends, there is a little, like an ink lifter pen. So you could, let's go find a little bit where I might have gone over. Here, look. So you just literally go over the top of where your extra colour has gone to. If you don't have one of those, you could use a white gel pen and just go over as well. There's always ways, you know, to make it look different, make it look better if you're not happy. Okay, now with the dark Highland Heather, I'm just doing this other little image. I don't know if it was meant to be flowers or if it's meant to be leaves, but I've coloured all mine as though they're a different flower, like a little floral spray of something else. Okay, and then the little birdie here, I've just chosen two colours again. I've got the light crumb cake and I've got my light so saffron. And all I did, just quick, was I coloured over the body in the light saffron. I used the light crumb cake for his wing, the top of his head. And then I got the light saffron again and just did an extra little bit around his tummy. Not much. And then I got the brown again as that had dried, put a little bit more on the wing. So there was a tiny difference in the colours, but not much. You could use the darker blends as well if you wanted to have more definition. Okay, now this little sentiment I didn't cut out with anything from the Quite Curvy set. What I used was one of my favourite sets. You've seen me use it lots of times, and honestly I go back to it all the time. I used these shapes and I got the two largest ones out. The sentiment I cut out with this, sort of like the cross shape, I call it, and it fits in there just perfectly. I'm sure they were meant to go together. And then with this one, I cut a little bit extra of the purple posy. So I've got that, and that's going to be my backing piece. So, and these two dies, I love how they fit together. I love that shape, and it makes such a difference on your card. Sometimes you don't even need an image. You can have designer series paper and a sentiment on here, a backing of a different colour cardstock, maybe a little piece of ribbon, and that's it. That's all you need. Such a great die set. And they're the Stitched So Sweetly dies. Okay, so next thing you need to do is get the dies, and you're going to cut these two pieces out, your little bird, and you've already cut the sentiment out. And I've got those already as well. I've coloured the other little flowers for the front, and where did my little birdie go? Here we are. There's another little bird that I've coloured and is already die cut. This is my backing piece, and I'm just looking to see where I put the front piece. Here it is. Okay, and see what I mean about how beautifully they fit together. Just going to see if my liquid glue wants to work yet. If not, I'll use the stamping seal again, but oh, it's working. Okay, so I'm just going to add that onto here. Okay, and then let's start to assemble the card. Here's the piece that we've already made. we're going to attach this to the inside. And I think it just gives a little bit extra to look at once you open the card. And there's just that little pretty little flower as well. It helps to tie the front to the inside and it just gives a little bit more of a focus. You could also do one of the sentiments in here, you know, like the birthday sentiment. I won't stamp it, but I'll show you how it would look. So let's see, wishing you the happiest of birthdays. So see, that would go nicely over the top or even underneath. But I think that would go nicely there. So let's pop those down. Okay. Now, to sort out the front, I'm going to use a little piece of ribbon. And on this one, I used the Whisper White polka dot ribbon. And I'm going to use it again, but it didn't show up too much on my very patterned paper. I would probably have been better with a solid colour ribbon on this one. But on here, because I've got that more solid background, I think it'll show up better. So this is what I've got, just this polka dot tulle in the Whisper White. And you need about 10 inches. And mine is cut to 10.5, but that's fine. One side is already tapered. And I'm just going to fold it in half. And then I'm going to put a glue dot in the middle just to keep those two bits together. Let's find the glue dots. Got my finger stuck then. Okay, so I'm just putting the glue dot on there. Putting the ribbon. Let's move that so you can see. I'm just folding the ribbon in half. And then I'm going to cut this piece. I'm just going to taper it as well. When I see where I've just hidden my scissors, I'm having one of those days where I put something down and then I swear I've put it down in one place and then it just disappears. Okay, so I'm going to put another glue dot on the back and attach it to my card. And you could do this with a little piece of tear and tape. I wouldn't recommend you do it with a liquid glue because it doesn't always dry well on ribbon. Okay. So there we are, it's just sort of roughly put across the middle there. Okay, and that's all you need. And then I'm going to attach the sentiment here, and I'm going to put this on with dimensionals. And that way it will help keep this ribbon down and it will just make it easier to attach. So I'm going to put a couple on the top and a couple underneath. And then the ribbon will go across that little channel there that I've made. Let's take these backings off. And then you could have this off to a side. It would have been nice at that side, look, with the ribbon going the other way. Let's do that. Let's just turn that ribbon round. I think I quite like it that way. Okay, see if we can put it a little bit further to the side. Pull that ribbon round. There we go. Just make sure it's straight. Okay, and then here are the little flower pieces that I've coloured in just exactly the same as we coloured them inside. And I'm just going to attach one at the top and one underneath. And again, I'm only going to do it with my liquid glue. I'm not going to put another layer on, so I'm not putting them on dimensionals and raising them. Because I know that if I want this to go in the mail, if I put 2 layers of dimensionals on, usually when I send things to the UK, then I need to add extra postage. 1 row of dimensionals is fine going through the machine, but 2 rows often just sends it over the thickness that you can have an envelope, so the depth is just a bit too much. Okay, and then my little tiny weenie bird, I'm going to get one of the little dimensionals, pop it on there. Let's take the backing off there. Oh, there we go. And then you can choose where your little little birdie's gonna go. Might put him over here this time. Just pop him just there. And there we are. That's my card for today using the Curvy bundle. This little quite curvy one. Let's find the first card I made to show you as well. So let's put them side by side. So you can see with that more patterned background, the ribbon didn't show up, but I do like how the pattern came out. But when you've got a more solid background, it just looks a little bit more classic, I think. A little bit more elegant. So thank you so much for joining me today. I do appreciate each and every one of you that comments as well on my cards and asks me questions or shows me a picture of a card they've made that has been inspired by something I've made. And it really does make my day when you do that. If you do have any questions, always feel free to ask on YouTube or on my Crafts by the Bow blogspot, or even on my Facebook page, my Crafts by the Bow Facebook page. And make sure that you check the blog for the sizings, the size of the DSP and the card and everything. Thanks again for watching me, everybody. I really do appreciate it. Take care, and I'll see you all again really soon. Bye-bye.